Hello, my dear listeners. Today is Sunday, and today here I am with a new story, a but still a very old story from the series Folktale of Bengal, and Folktales of Bengal. This book is was written by Reverend Lal Bihari Dey, and this very book was first published in the year 1883, and this very book was published in the year 1912. And today we are reading the 15th story from this book, and the name of this story is The Story of a Brahma Daitya. First, before starting this story, I must explain what is Brahmadaitya. Brahmadaitya, first let's divide this word. Brahma means the omnipotent God, and Daitya means a kind of, we can say, the devil monster, not devil monster, this kind of entity. Now what is Brahmadaitya? Now in general, as per the Sanatan Dharma, our society, as per your work, as per your character, the human beings are separated into four castes. Now these four castes are Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. Each and every caste has its own duties and has its own traits. Now, the first sect is Brahman. Now, they are totally those people who are related with study, who are related with research, and who are related with mainly, other than the study and teaching students, who are related with Brahma, means who are very pious and who are very much learned masters in the field of knowledge, for in the field of knowledge, more knowledge about who is the God, who is God, who is what is the omnipotence existence of that God, of the God, and who is he, how we can attain, and all these knowledges which are related with Brahma are known as Brahmagyan. So whoever is dwelling in that knowledge, they are known as Brahman. Now, as per the as per the as per the local belief or faith, it is, if somebody, it varies depending upon the locality of India, or in the Indian subcontinent where we are belonging. So this tell or this notion changes a little bit. Thing is, if a Brahman, if a Brahman and Brahman young man dies without getting married, then as he hasn't completed his journey, the life path or the duties is whatever is being assigned, the normal duties which are being assigned, and to a human being, as that person had died without getting married, so they became this Brahmadaitya, and they usually resides in a very tall large trees, and they are very pious, and they are very 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 strong willed entity, who loves to have some who loves the cleanliness and piousness. And so this is it. So let's start the story. Once on a time, there lived a poor Brahman who had a wife. As he had no means of livelihood, he used every day to beg from door to door, and thus got some rice, which they boiled and ate. together with some greens which they gleaned from the fields. After some time, it chanced that the village changed its owner, and the Brahman bethought himself of asking some boon of the new lad. So, one morning the Brahman went to the lad's house to pay him court. It so happened that at that time the lad was making inquiries of his servants about the village and its various parts. The lad was told that a certain banyan tree in the outskirts of the village was haunted by a number of ghosts, and that no man had ever the boldness to go to that tree at night. In bygone days, some rash fellows went to the tree at night, but the necks of them all were wrung, and they all died. Since that time, no man had ventured to go to the tree at night, though in the day some neatherds took their cows to the spot. The new lad, on hearing this, said that if anyone would go at night to the tree, cut one of its branches, and bring it to him, he would make him a present of 100 bighas of rent free land. None of the servants of the lad accepted the challenge, as they were sure they would be throttled by the ghosts. The Brahman, who was sitting there, thought within himself thus: I am almost starved to death now, as I never get my belly full. If I go to the tree at night and succeed in cutting off one of its branches, I shall get 100 bighas of rent free land and become independent for life. If the ghosts kill me, my case will not be worse, for to die of hunger is no better than to be killed by ghosts. He then offered to go to the tree and cut off a branch that night. The lad renewed his promise and said to the Brahman that if he succeeded in bringing one of the branches of that haunted tree at night, he would certainly give him 100 bighas of rent free land. In the course of the day, when the people of the village heard of the lad's promise and of the Brahman's offer, they all pitied the poor man. They blamed him for his foolhardiness, as they were sure the ghosts would kill him, as they had killed so many before. His wife tried to dissuade him from the rash undertaking, but in vain. He said he would die in any case, but there was some chance of his escaping and of thus becoming independent for life. Accordingly, 1 hour after sundown, the Brahmin set out. He went to the outskirts of the village without the slightest fear as far as a certain Vakula tree, uh, Miposops elengi, from which the haunted tree was about one rope distant. But under the tree, the Brahman's heart misgave him. He began to quake with fear, and the heaving of his heart was like the upward and downward motion of the paddy husking pedal. The Vakula tree was the haunt of a Brahmadaitya, who, seeing the Brahman stop under the tree, spoke to him and said, Are you afraid, Brahman? Tell me what you wish to do, and I will help you. I am a Brahmadaitya. The Brahman replied, O blessed spirit, I wish to go to yonder banyan tree and cut off one of its branches for the zamindar, who has promised to give me 100 bighas of rent free land for it. but my courage is failing me. I shall thank you very much for helping me. The Brahmadatta answered, certainly I will help you, Brahman. Go on, go on towards the tree, and I will come with you. The Brahman, relying on the supernatural strength of his invisible patron, who is the object of the fear and reverence of common ghosts, fearlessly walked towards the haunted tree, on reaching which he began to cut a branch with the bill which was in his hand. But the moment the first stroke was given, a great many ghosts rushed towards the Brahman, who would have been torn to pieces but for the interference of the Brahmadatta. The Brahmadatta said in a commanding tone, "Ghosts, listen. This is a poor Brahman. He wishes here are the ghosts who are not dressed, who are not very clear or very colorful, and who doesn't have a prominent lower portion. We can see, right? And this is our Brahman, I suppose, with the bill in his hand. So let's go back to the story. Yet a branch of this tree which will be of great use to him. It is my will that you let him cut a branch. The ghosts, hearing the voice of the Brahmadatta, replied, be it according to thy will, Lord. At thy bidding, we are ready to do anything. Let not the Brahman take the trouble of cutting. We ourselves will cut a bunch for him. So saying, in the twinkling of an eye, the ghost put into the hands of the Brahman a branch of the tree, with which he went as fast as his legs could carry him to the house of the Zamindar. The Zamindar and his people were not a little surprised to see the branch, but he said, well, I must see tomorrow whether this branch is a branch of the haunted tree or not. If it be, you will get the promised reward. Next morning, the Zamindar himself went along with his servants to the haunted tree, and found to their infinite surprise that the branch in their hands was really a branch of that tree, as they saw the part from which it had been cut off. Being thus satisfied, the Zamindar ordered a deed to be drawn up, by which he gave to the Brahman for ever 100 bighas of rent-free land. Thus, in one night, the Brahman became a rich man. It so happened that the fields of which the Brahman became the owner were covered with ripe paddy, ready for the sickle, but the Brahman had not the means to reap the golden harvest. He had not a piece in his pocket for paying the wages of the reapers. What was the Brahman to do? He went to his spirit friend, the Brahmadatta, and said, "O Brahmadatta, I am in great distress. Through your kindness, I got the rent free land all covered with ripe paddy, but I have not the means of cutting the paddy, as I am a poor man. What shall I do?" The kind Brahmadatta answered, "Oh Brahman, don't be troubled in your mind about the matter. I will see to it that the paddy is not only cut, but that the corn is threshed and stored up in granaries, and the straw piled up in ricks. Only you do one thing: borrow from men in the village 100 sickles, and put them all at the foot of this tree at night. Prepare also the exact spot on which the grain and the straw are to be stored up." The joy of the Brahman knew no bounds. He easily got 100 sickles, as the husbandmen of the village, knowing that he had become rich, readily lent him what he wanted. At sunset, he took the 100 sickles and put them beneath the Bakula tree. He also selected a spot of ground near his heart for his magazine of paddy and for his ricks of straw, and washed the spot with a solution of cow dung and water. After making these preparations, he went to sleep. In the meantime, soon after nightfall, when the villagers had all retired to their houses, the Brahmadaitya called to him the ghosts of the haunted tree, who were 100 in number, and said to them, "You must tonight do some work for the poor Brahman who I am befriending. The 100 bighas of land which he has got from the zamindar are all covered with standing ripe corn. He has not the means to reap it this night. You all must do the work for him. Here are, you see, 100 sickles. Let each you take a sickle in hand and come to the field I shall show him. There are 100 of you. Let each ghost cut the paddy of 1 bigha, bring the bring the sheaves on his back, sheaves on his back to the Brahman's house. Thresh the corn, put the corn in one large granary, and pile up the straw in separate ricks. Now don't lose time. You must do it all this very night." The 100 ghosts at once said to the Brahmaditya, "We are ready to do whatever your lordship commands us." The Brahmaditya showed the ghosts the Brahman's house and the spot prepared for receiving the grain and the straw, and then took them to the Brahman's fields, all waving with the golden harvest. The ghosts at once fell to it. A ghost harvest reaper is different from a human harvest reaper. What a man cuts in a whole day, a ghost cuts in a minute. Mash, mash, mash. The sickles went round, and long stalks of paddy fell to the ground. The reaping over, the ghosts took up the sheaves on their huge backs and carried them all to the Brahman's house. The ghosts then separated the grain from the straw, stored up the grain in one huge storehouse, and piled up the straw in many a fantastic ricks. In a in many a fantastic rick. It was full 2 hours before sunrise when the ghosts finished their work and retired to rest on their tree. No words can tell either the joy of the Brahman and his wife when early next morning they opened the door of their hut, or the surprise of the villagers when they saw the huge granary and the fantastic ricks of straw. The villagers did not understand it. They at once ascribed it to the gods. A few days after this, the Brahman went to the Vakula tree and said to the Brahmadaitya, "I have one more favor to ask of you, Brahmadaitya. As the gods have been very gracious to me, I wish to feed 1,000 Brahmans, and I shall thank you for providing me with the materials of the feast." "With the greatest pleasure," said the polite Brahmadaitya. "I will supply you with the requirements of a feast for 1,000 Brahmans. Only show me the cellars in which the provisions are to be stored away." The Brahman improvised a storeroom. The day before the feast, the storeroom was overflowing with provisions. There were 100 jars of ghee, clarified butter, one heel of flour, 100 jars of sugar, 100 jars of milk, curds, and congealed milk, and the other 1,001 thing required in a great Brahmanical feast. The next morning, 100 Brahman pastry cooks were employed. The 1,000 Brahman ate their fill, but the host, the Brahman of the story, did not eat. He thought he would eat with the Brahmadatta, but the Brahmadatta, who was present there, though unseen, told him that he could not gratify the Brahmadatta's allotted period. He could not gratify him on that point, as by befriending the Brahmadatta's allotted period that come to an end, and the Pushpaka chariot had been sent to him from heaven. The Brahmadatta, being released from his ghostly life, was taken up into heaven, and the Brahman lived happily for many years, begetting sons and grandsons. So, my dear friends, here is the end of the story, and from this story we can learn that with polite behavior sometimes we get favors. um, we can get unexpected favors, and by doing good deeds we ourselves we actually redeem our karma so that we can get free from the karma which we are doing. So, with this notion, today I am bidding you goodbye with the wish that you are going to have a very bright, a very active week ahead. And with this, ta-da!